if I simplify meta, most of you guys know, some of you guys don't. Most effective tactic available. I'm gonna make this very simple. Yeah, 4-2-1-3. Whether it's shaped like this, however you shape it, it becomes personal preference. But the idea is whether it's your long ball counter or quick counter. Defense on two fullbacks. Yeah, I mean, usually you go like this, right? Defense on a fullback. If you face a guy who plays on the flank a lot, you spread them wide, slap defense on them. But ideally, this is the usual meta setup. And meta, I think, it exists in a lot of games. But if I was to simplify definition of meta, yeah, most available tactic available. But in other words, is also exploiting the game's mechanic and mastering it. And don't get me wrong, most people on top 100, they're good enough to dribble, play possession game, everything. They know it all. But why would they dribble and risk an attack when they can just spam double touch, for example? So I'm not discrediting skillful players. And anybody who uses this pattern over and over and over and over eventually will become good at it. The idea of three narrow strikers, because the game is not coded for defenders to react to three narrow strikers. And for me, I complain about the meta as meta of the game, not people use it. The meta of the game has been always the same. You always need at least two players up front. And you need the third player to link up, basically. Like he needs to link up with here and the front, and majority at the front. Like the meta of the game needs your AMF to make direct runs all the time. Like you don't want to use classic number 10. You want these players to always make direct runs. So you got this guy who stays back. You got this guy who stays back, stays back, stays back, stays back. You got this guy who's going up and down to support the attack and defense. And this guy needs to link up with all three. That's pretty much the way the meta works. You need to have a setup where three players link up for quick passing. And then most goals are scored with the meta setup is assist by a striker who doesn't have good passing. The assists are not done by midfield most of the time or fullbacks. So if, for example, you get a pass from Neymar to Romario, and then a pass to Karl-Heinz, and then Karl-Heinz shoot. Boom, like pass, tap in. Because that way, they beat your defense, they beat the contextual block or a manual block, and they beat the goalkeeper too. And I'm not disregarding skills, though. I'm not disregarding like user skill. I'm simply talking about meta being simplified. Otherwise, yes, skillful players, if they know a defender is about to block it, they would simply super cancel. Super cancel is really important, not only in defending and attacking, but canceling your input as well. I don't know why is this not getting deleted. Delete, man. Delete it. And trust me, when it comes, like, if you're talking about long ball counter, right? Most of you guys know, you face it, you play it yourself. With long ball counter, you either run with the ball into a space to the final third, or you just quick pass. The passer you quick. No, the quicker you pass, the more effective you are. And there's a difference between rushing and playing fast, though. There are times when you need to slow down. But ideally, yeah, this is your runner, pretty much. You make one touch pass to Karl-Heinz, instant through ball to Romario. So you have to remember this kind of an open triangle. As simple as that. And trust me, if you implement that into your game, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Most of you guys know I'm not trying to insult your knowledge. Permanent marker. It's not working, bro. I think I made a video about with the PIS 16. It was something I called it DTL or something like that. I don't remember exactly, but I named it something. So what I'm talking about here, trust me on this one. You either run into the space with your AMF, you see space, you attack the space, run with the ball. Otherwise, just quick passing. And that pattern, it's so effective, right? One direct pass, you run with Kaka, one direct pass to Neymar or Karl-Heinz. Like one direct pass to a flank striker, and then instant through ball to the third striker. And then if you end up on a flank again, pass, tapping. Like, pay attention. Most guys on top 100, you face them, this is the pattern. It may be simple, but The skill comes to the way they think, the way they defend, how good they press you. The moment you realize you're not confident on a ball, they will freaking get you. By the way, for those of you guys on YouTube, this is just quickly talking about the meta simplified because I get a lot of people asking on Facebook, on YouTube comment. So I know most of you guys are on a live stream chat. This is not that advanced in a way. And it goes the same thing. Like with quick counter, I usually see this kind of setup. Like it varies, man. You can simply put Neymar a bit wide to give you a little bit of a width. If you make him left hook forward, he would drift out wide. If you make him SS, he will come a bit narrow. And it goes the same way. But the biggest difference is the difference between counter and long ball counter. Long ball counter, defensively is better when opposition does through balls in your half. Defensively, you can recover better. The team comes back. With quick counter, they press. And attacking wise, long ball counter is simply just punting the ball to the final third. That's where your game starts. With quick counter, I think you can play a little bit of a decent position as well. And it's more about quick passing. You need fast players all over the place. 4-2-1-3, if you're unsure about anything, you can never go wrong with 4-2-3. But then you also face people like using Pedri here instead of Silva and using De Bruyne here. And then having Alexander-Arnold and Robertson overlapping. That, like, if you wanna get to Div 1 and have at least 70% win ratio, you cannot get away with having two attacking fullbacks and using like Pedri and De Bruyne here. You know what I mean? It just doesn't work. It works in a way you always have an advantage to dominate with such a bad squad would depending on playing style. But you have to make a decision. Is your build up, is your squad would based on defending? Do you think the best defense is defense, or the best defense is offense, or the best offense is defense? To me, I don't trust defending that much.